What's going on, guys? I was told on the Epic conference that I have 5 seconds to get your attention and get you hooked. Are you hooked? Are you ready? It's Proper Royals Live. Let's get to this right now. What's going on, everybody? I hope that you're doing well. I'm feeling good tonight. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 7 o'clock here in Minnesota. Spring is about. The daffodils are up, and that might not be important to you, but that means it's only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks away from the morel mushrooms. They come once a year for only about 2-3 weeks, and they'll be here soon. So I'm excited. Spring is in the air, and I had another live show this weekend, in-person vending, not a live show, whatever you call it. The Minnesota Cold-Blooded Expo. Great show. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all that went. I know Ross is in the audience. I know that he is there. And he was at the show. So it's always good to see friends in local markets. Don't underestimate the power of your local market. I don't know about you, but for me, a pretty good show was selling 10 snakes. That's 10 customers out of however many people live in your metropolitan area. I saw Charlie from Reagan Renee Royal Pythons in the audience. He put out a great reel, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in there. And basically the theme was, forget whether the market's tough or not. What have you done to get just a little bit ahead of whoever else is in your market? So if your only marketplace is Morph Market, which is fine, that's a lot of us. If your only marketplace is Morph Market, have you updated your inventory? Have you posted new pictures? Have you tried to refresh your information to get it, fresher in the feed? Have you shared pictures of your listings on Instagram, et cetera, et cetera? In your local market, if you want to get into that world, have you posted an ad on Facebook? Have you posted pictures in the local reptile groups? All you got to do is, I say all you got to do, but really the goal, like for me, the goal is to find 10 customers that will buy something from me. If 10 customers will spend $300, that's a pretty good day at the office, right? Like, think about that. So anyway, check out Charlie's reel. He's a little more eloquent and certainly quicker about it than I was. But that's Charlie at Reagan Renee Royal Python. So it was a good show this weekend. I didn't quite get to 10, but I did sell 7 animals, and none of those were pre-sales. That was all organic day of the show sales, which is a pretty good day. And it's a one-day show too. I guess I can't guarantee it because I could guarantee you have to back up. But had it been a 2-day show, I'm quite certain that I would have gotten to 10 animals. So good week, good show. That was my second show in 2 weeks. I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota the week before. I got this weekend off. How nicely do the stars align? I got this weekend off coming up, and it's WrestleMania weekend. That's right. I will be offline. You won't see me. I will not be bothered on Saturday night and Sunday night, and maybe not even late Friday night. They have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that night. And then the following weekend, that's the weekend of the 27th, I'll be out at the AARPE, All-American Reptile Plant Expo, at their home base of Castle Rock, Colorado. I'll be there with Redline. So I hope to see you guys out there. Again, thanks to everybody that came out this week for the show. Those of y'all that are intrigued as to what I might still have for sale that I was able to convince 7 people to buy, you could check out properroyals.com. Go check that out. I haven't been, other than this show, the Thursday morning show, I really have not been on social media for a few weeks. I know it sounds cheesy to say. I needed a little bit of a break. And by the way, if you need a break from social media, just take it. Don't make a post about how you have to take a break from social media. Nobody's paying attention. I promise nobody watching was like, Adam hasn't posted lately. They're going to be just fine. They don't need an update from you. Just go do your thing, get yourself right, look after yourself, have a little sit in the sauna, come back when you're ready. It'll all still be here for you. I promise. What I just looked at the chats. I have no idea what this is in context of, but RT Royal says your marriage advice worked like a charm. I don't know if it was mine or not, but there you go. Yeah, I needed a little bit of a break. I'll be honest, from the week at Tinley was a big buildup, obviously, and then a whole lot of work at Tinley. And then I had Epic right after that. And then if you saw the intro, I just got a new puppy. I drove down to Kansas City to get that puppy. I drove to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to vend, and I vended this past weekend. And all the while I completed getting the certificate of occupancy on the car wash renovation. And I was beat, and that's okay. I'm not looking for sympathy on any of this, matter of fact, but sometimes you just got to refuel. Sometimes you just got to stop and take a deep breath and relax. I'm also a father and a husband, and those things are very important to me. But two things, and actually maybe a third, this is going to lead into a third. Two things really kind of just made it really easy to go, you know what? I'm just gonna step away for a minute. When I was at Tinley, and I don't want to sound nefarious and start, conspiracy theories and all that. And no, I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to get into drama and all that. But there were people that were like having conversations, and to me, it sounds intimidating, with people that advertise for a certain company or prefer to do business with a certain company. And they were told they were being like, labeled this way. And it was all in the guise of being helpful and all. But that stinks to high hell, if you ask me. There you go. I'll say it. So that really bothered me. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to stir this pot. The antidote for ego is to ignore things. It's indifference. It's to move on, and it's to not pay at the time of day. We're grown people. Do business with who you want. Vote with your little green ballots, your dollar bills. Give the money to who you want to give your money to. But it really bothered me, and it didn't sit well with me. So I stepped away from that. And then in that time, I was working on some projects, and we did I'm sure it was a live, and I don't remember exactly which episode it was. Somebody took a clip of my production of my content and manipulated it to look like one of my advertising partners. They manipulated it to insinuate that this person was some sort of pedophile or nonsense. And again, vote with your dollar bills. Go do business with who you want to do business with. I advocate for the companies that I do business with, and I tell you why I do business with them. I'm not going to lose friendships over, I might lose headphones. I'm not going to lose friendships over who you do business with, but you can't go calling or insinuating that somebody else is a pedophile. And so that really drove me bonkers. And side note, if you're going to make such public accusations or insinuations, I suppose no specific accusation was made, you maybe should look in your own closet first at public records that somebody can find in, 42 seconds of a Google search. Like if I were into drama and I were into, grandstanding and kneecapping people, this would be a completely different episode tonight. Mark my words. But I didn't. I handled it privately. That content went away. It got taken care of. But it just added to all the good hard work that I had done, that I was exhausted from. I don't mind being exhausted from good hard work. I can't stand being exhausted from BS, for lack of a better expression. My apologies. So anyway, I needed a little break, but I got through my long stint, got a good night of sleep last night. My little puppy, that's Lucy. She's coming along. She's a little Jack Russell. Come here, Lucy. You want to say hi? Maybe some people missed the intro. Yeah, there's Lucy right there, little rat dog. She's going to be the shop dog. That's her. How can your day not be brightened with Lucy? Yeah, I know. You're going to be a little terror, aren't you? So life is a-okay, and we are hanging out here. Oh, see, I'm telling you, man, a good thumbnail and a good Instagram post will get people's attention and bring you to the booth. Thank you, Jessica. You just missed it. I got to say, you just missed it. It just happened. I was there. I hope that you're doing well. So anyhow, moral of the story is, don't try to be some mafioso intimidator. Don't go calling other people in the industry, no matter how much you don't like them, pedophiles with no evidence. And if you have evidence of such things, go to the cops. Don't post it on Instagram, you clowns. And then after all that, if you're going to do that, make sure that your skeletons are buried deeper than what a 40-second Google search can bring up. All right. Speaking of juggling, Jessica, I have to let you down here. I'm not going to juggle puppies, nor am I going to juggle anything else. I know that this is old news, but what a dumb move. What a dumb unforced error. Let me say a couple things without equivocation, no stuttering, no issue, no nothing. The guy should not be juggling ball pythons. I do think it was animal endangerment or whatever the hell I do think that there was potential for criminal issues. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that he put himself in a situation where that could be the case. He literally drops a ball python, laughs it off, and gives it another shot. Follows it up with probably smartly canceling himself on his Instagram account. That went away pretty fast. And then returning to explain himself and then explain that in that explanation to announce that he will be making an apology, but not for any wrongdoing. Look, man, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying me. I have done some stupid things that, thank God, the internet didn't exist when I did them. I've done stupid things that cops saw me do, and I had to explain myself in a little more formal setting. Okay, let's just put it that way. I've overseen teams in restaurants over 26 years of over 80 to 100 groups of people that maybe don't make the best decisions. There's a certain style that comes to restaurants, and I include myself in that proudly. But sometimes we make some dumb decisions. I have become very seasoned at making apologies, whether it's for my own actions or the actions of my team. A couple things I know: don't announce when you're going to make an apology. And then when you do, don't say it's not for any wrongdoing. If you're going to apologize and get on with doing the next best thing and rebuilding your brand and the trust of your customers and the community. What a dumb unforced error. Two really, really big problems with that for me. Maybe three, but two for sure. The guy's on his own. You get what comes your way in life when you behave that way. Again, that's me saying it as somebody who's done wonderfully stupid things. I got what came my way. All right. That's you. You're going to have to figure that out. You're going to have to rehab your name and your brand. From what I understand, you're a pretty well-established breeder. I don't know anything beyond that. Don't really care to at this point. Not my problem. What is sort of my problem is those are living animals. They shouldn't be juggled. They shouldn't be endangered. They shouldn't be hurt that way. If you don't value them, and I guess I don't like this, but if you feel a need to not have them on this planet or not have them valued and respected, then humanely euthanize them and put them to use as a food source for some other animal, which at least they would get value out of their lives. Okay, pretty easy. We work with animals, respect them, take care of them. The part that is my problem is that's the headline that our industry gets. Idiot juggles ball pythons. we all work way, way, way too hard for these one-off, shoot yourself in the foot things that come up. Drives me absolutely bonkers. We have such good momentum going on right now. And I'll tell you a few different examples of why. You can look all around you. Reptiles are becoming, and this might bother some people, but they're becoming a little bit more normalized. They're becoming a little bit more mainstream. And look, I know that we probably were attracted to reptiles because they're sort of on the fringes. That's why I like rock and roll. It's why I like punk rock. I get it. It's why people like tattoos. But think about, actually, tattoos are a great example. Do you want the dive bar dude sitting at the back loading dock of a dive bar giving tattoos? Or do you want the place that you walk into that looks as clean as a medical facility with somebody whose hands are clean and equipment is sterilized giving you the tattoo? Two different things, two different images. We should be the clean, sterilized medical facility in that analogy. And I actually think that's happening. Look at the followers, whether you love them or hate them or whatever in between. Look at the momentum that people like Snake Discovery have going on. Look what Adam Wickens has going on. Again, love them, hate them. These are massive swaths of American society that is watching and consuming these folks' content. Brian Barczyk's content, Legacy, all of that is reaching an incredible amount of people. So much so that, again, love it or hate it, a company called Chewy.com is investing heavily in the reptile space. What are they doing? How much are they investing? I don't know. But they were the biggest sponsor at NARBC in Tinley at our biggest show. And they're a publicly traded company. I don't know what sort of, conspiratorial gymnastics it would take for us to get our heads around. They believe in reptiles is why they're investing in us. No other reason. They believe they can return on the investment of their investors, their shareholders, their stakeholders. They believe this is a good move. I don't know what's coming. I was thankful that I think Chris Toft from Chewy is how you pronounce his name. He was a part of Epic, but I didn't get to spend any time with him. I don't know him. I'm not privy to anything behind the scenes. I'm not claiming to be an insider on this. I'm just going off of he participated in Epic and their logos were at Tinley and they had that big build off that was sponsored by Chewy as well. But could you imagine if Chewy.com, that gets like 20 million individual users each month, sticks a ball python in the corner or the corner of the homepage? I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what their aim is. I'm certain it's not live animals, which can only benefit breeders and people that want to breed and hobby breeders. But if they are getting the idea and the equipment and making, reducing the friction or lowering the speed bump to get into reptiles, that can only be good, I think. So what does that have to do with this dude juggling? I don't want, when we have that momentum and those tailwinds, for the headline to be some idiot juggles ball pythons. That's what I got to say. When I try and these solo shows are tough because when I try and engage the camera, I can't see the comments. So I'm going to try and get to them. But we're still just talking about puppies there. That's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, Lucy she's good. We'll see how she grows. She better stay good. I got to work with her, keep her trained. Little Jack Russell shorty. She's going to take all my whatever little hair I have left. That's all going to fall out. That's going to be gone when Lucy reaches maturity, I think. Think about the image that we put out there is what I'm asking. Usually in life, how people present themselves are how we will be received. I've said it before on the show. I'll say it. I really think it's a great blueprint, and the tattoo analogy works just as well. But think about the perception of people that used marijuana in the early 90s versus the perception today. Not only the perception, the reality of where it's welcomed, how available it is, how regulated it is, how safe it is. None of the doomsday prophecies of normalizing that came to fruition. And I feel like we're at that point with reptiles. We are leaving a little bit of the old story in the garden with the apple behind us. Maybe we got a little bit of momentum at our back. Maybe we can be a little bit mainstream. Tattoo parlors are still cool. The plant culture is doing just fine, if not thriving and thrilled, by the way. They're doing just fine as well. It's something that I think that we could learn from. And that's why some of this stuff, this shooting each other in the foot when we work really, really hard at this. And don't get me wrong, I know that people like the entertainment factor of drama. I get it. It's not my thing, but I totally get it. Don't forget, you're talking or listening. I guess we're not talking, but you should talk. You should comment. If there's something you want to talk about, let me know. Comment. You're talking to a host that has my whole weekend carved out for WrestleMania next weekend. Okay. I get the drama, fun, and effect, and even the strategy and psychology of it. Some of the very, very best, highest paying stories in wrestling history stem from truth and reality between two of the performers. So there can be real entertainment and reality in the value. Hang on, I got Lucy on my headphones here. Get off of there. There can be value in it. The difference is we know that the scripted factor of one, and I don't want people to mistake some of our drama for the reality of what goes on out there. Anyhow, there you go. That's my thoughts on the juggler. Feel free to comment. Feel free to participate. Feel free to add comments on the replay because I appreciate you all as well. The check mark, I think I haven't addressed that since the last time that I addressed that I was displeased with it. So Morph Market, and rather quietly, I got to say, I don't know if I'm impressed or if I'm not sure how I feel. It's a different approach because usually Morph Market doesn't do things very quietly, right? Very quietly, Morph Market removed the requirement that you ship only with Morph Market to be eligible for the check mark. Very smart move, in my opinion. Very smart move on their part. But before we get carried away, I've heard some, and some of this came from chats on Patreon. One of the first rule of Patreon is what happens in Patreon chat stays in Patreon chat. So I'm not going to name any names or get real specific, but somebody made a comment. I think it's amazing that they listened to the customers and then went back and made this change. Okay, let's reel this in from, and this is a friend. We've already had this conversation. Let's reel this in for a minute before we go starting the canonization process of this being amazing. Now, there's a difference between doing the right thing and taking customer input and adapting. And when you make a false step, correcting it. Credit where it's due. You make a false step, you correct it. Cheers to you. Good luck. Go on your way. Savior of the industry, Saint Morph Market. No, thank you. I don't think that it's quite that way. I do think it was a good move, but here's the reality of it. I think it's what any business or any industry does. You're going to make missteps. You're going to make things that maybe you got out ahead of yourself and it blew up in your face. I don't know if blew up in the face is exactly the right way, but there was backlash. And really at the end of the day, I know, listen, let's not beat around the bush. I know everybody's like, oh, here comes Adam on his, Redline grandstand. It has nothing to do with Redline. It has to do with, I was a customer of Morph Market paying for 5 years. 42 5-star ratings, 0 complaints, 0 reports to customer service, 0 customer issues, 0 negative reviews. Adam didn't get a green check mark. Adam still doesn't have a green check mark because I don't know if I'm interested in having it. I'm still bothered by it. It shouldn't have taken backlash and an uprising for this to be addressed. I said it before. I'll say it again because I still believe it. I believe it was an insincere move. And as much as I wouldn't have liked it, at least I would have thought it was a sincere move if Morph Market said, we're going to make an aggressive push into shipping. Here's the deal. We got this little trinket and you're going to have to agree to this if you want it. But instead, it was posed as this, benevolent, here's how you can represent yourself. Here's how you can stand out. You've done the hard work. You will be recognized as a reputable seller. And right over here, contractually agree to, you're going to give your money to us when it comes to shipping. I didn't like it. Stunk to high heaven. It's fixed. Fine. Bless you. We can't go back in time though. I still feel those feelings. Again, outside of any other business relationship I have, my business relationship with Morph Market was soured on that play. That's where my frustration was. I'll figure out the rest of it. I know that there's aggressive business people out there in the world. I get that that's the name of the game in capitalism. The monopoly is called monopoly. It's not called, hey, I'll get along and split everything up. I get that I get the goals that are out there. I don't like it. I can dislike it, but leaving the customer out in the cold that's been a loyal customer. I was a subscribed loyal customer. You know the customer acquisition cost on somebody who's subscribed and stays and is a returning customer? It's $0. Keep those people happy. Lesson number one, if they're in the house already, keep them happy. There. I didn't like it. I thought it was underhanded. It's done though, and it's taken care of. And like I say, credit where it's due. I'll let it go. Done. Going back to the past couple shows that I have vended, I'm feeling a little invigorated. I don't know. Maybe you could tell I got a little pep in my step tonight too. I made a list, when you ever notice when you're like making lists, like when you're really mad, like you're mad at your spouse, or you're like, they did this on this day, make me a list. Been keeping a list. I got stuff I got to address. But this is on to the good stuff. I'm done with all the complaining. I'm done with the, I'm done with all of that. By the way, check these folks out while I talk to you for a moment, because their logos, there we go. That's a nice balance there. Their logos don't get to show when I'm solo, and these are good people. I already told you a little bit about Reagan Renee Royal Pythons, who I've neglected from the special promo sheet there. I'm glad I gave him his own little special promo at the beginning there, but his contact information is down below. Go check out Charlie's Morph Market page. I've been invigorated by just being out in the public, being outside of our little bubble of shooting each other in the feet to make each other dance that we do in our bubble. Let me get really specific though. I'm seeing, and I'm going to say this on the record, small sample size. Don't, crucify me here. I'm seeing pet prices rise. I'll say it again, not too loud. I'm seeing pet prices rise. I'd actually be interested to see what Jessica has found. She does a stonk report. I don't know if she still does or not. I know she did a while back. Now I think it only came from information from Morph Market, which is fair because that's the most quantifiable. I have no problem with that. Quantifying this stuff is damn near impossible. But I will present as evidence a couple things. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 10 animals sold at what I consider retail, fair retail, heavy pet presence. There was a couple breeder people. Interestingly enough, they were interested in some double het males that were like, of course, like, $50, which I'm not saying frustratingly. I'll take $50 on otherwise wholesale animals any day of the week. No problem there. But I saw an uptick. I priced a little bit aggressively, and this is, I think it's the fact of the matter. I think it's how the market works. If I look around the room and there's only one or two other ball python focused breeders, there was other ball pythons in the room. This is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. If I look around the room and I see fairly low level of competition, that's nice. We all look for that. We would all enjoy that. The other thing I saw around the room was a lot of pet buyers. And to be honest, moms and dads, but more moms. And then 20 something enthusiasts. And that said to me, these are early entrants into either the pet market or early breeding market. So I got to say, and I generally start a little bit high and then I'll negotiate down anyway. But I had a good day selling, for example, more than one Banana Pied. Now they were females, which are valuable for certain things, but Banana Pied females, $375. I move a bunch of those in an afternoon. I'm having a good day, and no pushback. I got one gentleman that actually he wanted a breeder female from me, and he felt that my price was too high. And I said, look, if you're specifically looking for a breeder female, I'm guessing you want to breed it, and good and well, then if you're going to breed it and she's ready to breed, 200 or 250 is a negligible difference. And it's really negligible versus what you're going to get from the eggs or whatever you're going to do to forward your project. And, and frankly, I felt that it was worth more than what he was willing to offer. And ironically, he never did offer me anything. He badgered me to come down on price. And I said, all right, I'll take $50 less. And he was like, and he walked off. So that happens. It's okay. It's a marketplace. As I said earlier, people can vote with their dollar bills however they want. But I saw similar enthusiasm this week in Minnesota. So two different markets. And for context, this one in Minneapolis this past weekend, really a great show. What I would say the standard for shows outside of kind of the national NARBC caliber shows that we're hearing and are very popular right now, and rightly so. They're filling a very good gap. Cold-blooded expos, for what it's worth, at least in the Minnesota show, and I would say the Kansas City show, they have that big time feel to them, but they are one-day shows and they're done well. They pack the house. And I sold 7 animals. I sold 2 animals to one person. So 6 individual sales, largely pet or entry-level breeders. Good fair prices that made me happy. I didn't have a problem with that. So I feel like I've always been a proponent of having cash flow and having revenue going and making small amounts of money to invest in bigger projects rather than going massively in debt or massively spending money that you have. That's just my style. A lot of friends disagree with me, and that's cool. They've proven that there's other ways to do it, but I've proven that my way works as well. And so I like the idea that, for example, one of the sales was a visual clown combo to a het clown with several codoms. This guy was genuinely excited. They were both yearlings. They'll be ready to breed here, hopefully in a year. And this guy's going to get really cool clown combo results. He's going to learn how to identify a mix of 5 different codom possibility outcomes from that. He's going to have some hets in there that he's going to have to practice selling and explaining to people what a het is. Like, I thought I was really excited about that 1.1 sale that guy took on, because that tells me that there's still enthusiasm for that. And that guy is going to learn, he's going to get his chops from breeding those animals, and he's going to be able to do it relatively quickly versus buying hatchlings and waiting an additional year on top of it. So sometimes you got to stay excited and keep fuel in your tank along the way. Anyway, all of that together, plus, again, let me refer back. I think the last I looked, Snake Discovery had 4 million followers. People like publicly traded companies like Chewy are investing in us. I have no relationship with Chewy, nor a relationship with Palm Street. Palm Street is investing incredibly heavily as well. The ball python part is a little bit difficult. It's difficult for sellers. I get it. It's great for buyers. A little bit difficult for sellers. But the price point of geckos and some of the colubrids, if I was dealing in those animals, I would be on Palm Street day and night. I might not even leave the house. They are crushing it, just killing the volume of what they are selling. Those sweet spot price points are flying on Palm Street. And it tells me that they can attract people. It tells me that we've got to figure out some tweaks, but there's going to be a great opportunity there as well coming up. So I'm excited. And I've often thought what I was saying about raising revenue and then buying your bigger projects in any business, not any, most businesses. I'll take restaurants because that's what I know. You have your enticing things that get people in the door and that you know that you'll always be able to sell and always be able to make money on. The examples I use are Mich Ultra and White Zinfandel. I don't think any connoisseur of food wakes up going, God, I cannot wait to sell some Mich Ultra and Zinfandel tonight. White Zin, that is. However, at the end of the night, when we're looking at the sales reports, we're going, look at all that Mich Ultra and White Zin that's sold. That Mich Ultra and the White Zin profits are what pay for the Wagyu beef. They're what pay for our sister cafe across the street that is a 5-star Michelin star quality experience that we wouldn't otherwise be able to have if it weren't for the profits of the White Zin and the Mich Ultra. And if you haven't figured out what I'm trying to say is, sometimes you sell and you deal in the Banana Pieds so that you can invest in your Ultramel puzzle project. Yeah. Something else neat this week. And again, some things are private and they stay private as far as names and who they are. So I'll be a little bit vague, but I had a breeder that has been at it for, I think 30 years. They've been on my show several times and that I look up to greatly, who said, hey, what do you think about getting 10 female bells and, you can make 50 to 60 bells a year and you'd always have them on your table because God knows people ask for them. Yeah, just listen to the customers. It's crazy how many people ask me for bells and I don't have them, which is a dumb move. And nobody in the room has them. That's why everybody's asking for them. That's an amazing combination that builds in price value, that builds in demand, the old supply and demand. No supply, high demand. That's the highest price point you can get. So it's out there, and I would encourage people to think that over. That's sort of like the current feeling, what I'm feeling like right now. More Forge. Hey, thank you guys for saying hey at the show. It was really great to get to meet you in person and connect faces, names, brands, all of that stuff. So great to see you. And I know we'll be vending together next month in Eau Claire. Yeah, look at Aaron. Okay, so I find this really, really interesting. Aaron is a great example of somebody who has, that's a Beast Morphs, who has built themselves as enough of a brand and enough of an identity in certain projects that the high-end snakes move really, really well. And to hear Beast Morphs saying that the things at the lower end are moving quick, that's a lot coming from Beast Morphs, and I mean that in a really genuine way. Thanks for chiming in on that. I like hearing that. Here's the other thing that I wonder. By the way, guys, I feel like I'm on a little bit of a roll, so I'm not going to cut many promos, but check out the advertisers. They keep this rolling. They literally keep the lights on around here for me. They're an important part of what I do. That's Charlie at shedtesting.com. Use the promo code PROPER15. He just dropped his price is 20%. You're still going to get another 15% off while that promo code is live. Redline shipping, Proper5, get yourself an extra $5 off. If you want customer service and support for your live animal shipments and varying temperatures across varying geographic zones in the United States, I recommend Redline. That's where you're going to get it from, okay? BNS Reptilia, Ball Labs, Portuguese Pythons, and special shout out to Argen Reptiles, still in the Proper Royals family. I own snakes and have done business with all of those folks, and I'm proud to have done it. Go check them out. Their contact information is down below. Let me move this. The other thing you should check out is Cold Blooded Cafe. the promo code proper11, it's not printed anywhere here. They sponsor the Thursday morning show, but special shout out. They're running a sale, moving out some of their larger rodent selections. And by that, I mean rats. So jumbo smalls, mediums, and larges. Check out the full inventory. It's an overall special across all of their rodents, but they're running a sale. And then, and I haven't verified this, but generally the proper 11 promo code also works on top of the sale price. Go check that out before the sale ends. Restock your freezer. These things are not cheap. So the discount really comes in handy. That's proper 11, 11, the number, not the word, proper 11. That's Cold Water Cafe. Okay. So that, what I was just describing of the lower end stuff moving, but we say lower end, like, it was just quantified by Beast Morphs. Yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff in the price range at 1,000 or under. Let's not forget how hard we've all worked in our lives for $1,000. Like, that's one of the numbers that has a nickname because it's so important. That's $1,000. Okay. Like, it doesn't get a nickname because it's insignificant. It's $1,000. So it's still a lot of money, and it's still a lot of work otherwise to get that much money. So let's not take that for granted. And I don't think anybody does, but sometimes people do. So I'm not saying, I don't think anybody here takes that for granted. For that to be the lower range, we're still in a pretty cool place to even think that things higher than $1,000 are normal. And that's like, if you call something the lower range, above it would be average. So the average is still the meh, pretty good, okay, fine stuff is still north of 1,000. How great is that, right? So that's all very, very intriguing to me. And that's intriguing to me without getting into the macro market of the bonkers challenges here. And I know we all have our selections of our preference of left leaning, right leaning, and I respect it. And I have friends that voted different than me, and I'm proud to say that they're my friends. What I will say I'm not going to say as a factual statement because I don't know the exact number, as a opinionated statement, I have lost a hell of a lot of money of my life savings and my life work. Will it come back? I'm damn sure rooting for it too. I'm not rooting against that. But I know I'm also not the only one. So that plays into it in a weird way too. So I got this like weird shadow monster hanging over me of this incredible loss, which again could rebound. I'm in it for the long haul. I don't sell on dips. I don't panic, and I don't celebrate on the ups. I'm just the tortoise, man. You guys know that about me by now. But it's interesting that we're seeing household, pet, beginner breeder, inspired breeder, dreamer breeders active. Pretty cool. Leads me to my last topic. Have we seen the end? Have we bounced off the bottom of the 5-year industry pump and dump? Think it over. Let me know what you think. Those of y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, and I got some interesting comments on Instagram today for using the expression pump and dump. Pump and dump is an investor's lingo, and generally it is nefarious. I don't mean this in a nefarious way. I meant it in a way to get you to watch the show. Full transparency. It is an investor's way of you pump up a stock that will soon generally, it's generally prior to it going public. It's this new hot company. Everybody needs to buy it, or there's this new hot innovation and you need to invest, and you get in and you get in and you get in, and the price gets pumped and it gets artificially inflated and it gets overvalued. And the people that know this, that were doing the pumping, jump ship. They get out with the money of the other investors, and then the value crashes before those secondary investors can get out. Now, again, that's not exactly what I think happened in ball pythons. We had a pandemic. We had a weird economic time. We're in a weird economic time, but that was a that was a weird economic time too. And for whatever reason, prices skyrocketed. We can all have our debates of why we think it. I've already stated why I think mine in many videos, many times over. But the reality is the prices went through the roof. People were buying ball pythons at an incredible rate and an incredible price. People were selling them at an incredible rate and incredible price. And then, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago, people started jumping ship. Understandably, if you got in thinking it was just that easy, you just throw some ball pythons in a box and then you post them on the little, morph marketplace, and suddenly there's money in your Venmo, and you go down to your FedEx and you ship them out. It turns out there's more to it, right? And the people that had that expectation have walked away or retreated to hobby status, which would be a good outcome as well. They learned a little bit. I say that as if I was the one teaching them that. I was part of that movement. I just happen to still be here and wrote it out. I like figuring out businesses, and I like the opportunities that markets pose. And I generally find, this is getting ahead of myself here a little bit, I generally find uncertainty and chaos actually provides, while we hate it, and while markets hate it, there's lots of opportunity in chaos and uncertainty. I'll get there in a little bit. So what I'm wondering, and I'm interested in you all's input, trying to read the comments and keep the tirade going here, is, have we reached the end? We've definitely reached the end of the pump. Have we reached the end of the dump? And then furthermore, have we experienced a bounce off the bottom, which is rare? We've been told, and we know ball python prices, sometimes it's this far, sometimes it's more like that, but they steadily decline because supply increases, breeder prices drop to pet prices, and then they plateau. We do not hear that they increase anywhere. But I'm wondering, are we experiencing a little bit of that? And if we are, what a glorious time to be alive. What a glorious time to be in ball pythons and in this audience. Because if maybe you stumbled across this show this evening and you have no idea what I'm talking about with ball pythons, but most of us are probably engaged in that market already. That is making me wildly optimistic. Now, ironically, I'm saying all of this on April 15th. It is tax season. Maybe people have returns in their pockets and want to burn some money, or they know they got returns coming, and so they're a little looser on their credit cards. I don't know. It's a small sample size, and I talked earlier about quantifying these things. I can't necessarily quantify it outside of my own anecdotal experience, but people see we are seeing an interesting bounce here. And I'm sorry, I stuttered because I'm trying to maybe stammered is a better word. I hesitated there because I was trying to catch up on the good content in the comments, which is hard for me. 1 second here. Nothing like dead air while I'm just mumbling along. Yeah, good point, Bullish here. We did have some other market disruptions along the way. I think we might have one coming with lace as well. That's going to be an interesting miniature pump and dump. Okay. All right. Caitlin Turton. My apologies if I mispronounced anything. I'm just getting on board now. My love for ball pythons isn't going anywhere. So might as well get in while the market is low. I have faith it will go back up. Perfect. Markets have volatility. I told this story, so I won't tell the whole thing before. When the market crashed in 2009 is coincidentally when I had reached a point in my life where I actually had a savings. I actually had a credit score. I was on my own 2 feet, and I bought a house. And then I immediately, any penny I had left over, I stuck it in the market because in that year, at that time, I was 28 and I had nothing but time and life ahead of me. And I actually made more on the returns in that moment and that initial seed money putting in at that time than I have at any other time in my investing life. Not that I'm any sort of person to look up to from investing. There's no secret. I invest in S&P 500 index funds. I don't have hot stocks. I don't have any of that. I put it in and I forget about it. Okay. Let me see here. What else is going on? Yeah. Okay. Good point. And this is actually the crux of where any hesitation I have. Bullish says, don't be shocked if we go back to test the lows. I see some storms on the horizon in the macro economy. You are more eloquent and even keeled about that than even I am. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. I see some storms in the macro economy on the horizon as well. I won't change. Well, I can't say. I was going to say I won't change my long-term outlook because until I'm forced to, I'm going to kind of stay the course of what I believe. But I only say that because I have a fairly high level of risk tolerance and I tend to stay in sort of the, like I just said, the S&P index area and the blue chips if I were to ever invest in stocks. But I apply that thought to ball pythons as well. So I'm not ready to go dropping $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 on investment animals. It's just not going to be in the cards for me, maybe ever, but certainly not right now. So I empathize with that, and I've said all episode, I am optimistic. It is not without caution. And maybe I've understated my caution because that struck a nerve. You're exactly right, in my opinion. Let's see. Let me see here. Yeah, the market has more to do with ours now. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is a good example too. This is Katie. I'm going to use Katie as an example. Katie is a local breeder. I think she would say she's on the early stages of it. She's investing in good breeder animals right now. Not even from me. She's surpassed what I have for introductory offerings, introductory breeder offerings right now. When I have hatchlings this year, I'll have stuff of that caliber. But she just invested in some nice animals, and I'm happy for her. And I think it's a time of optimism. There is something to, even if what Bullish says is right, that we're going to test lows again. I don't mind lows if they're in fact the lows, because that means that around the corner, the up is coming. I don't know. What's the classic statement? Past performance doesn't indicate future results. We know this, but the past performance, I was going to say over the past 100 years, we got to go even further back to the beginning of the roaring 20s. The past, 110 years of past performance has shown that we not only are resilient from the lows, we outperform the previous highs by a very, very large margin. If we believe in that past and we believe in that future, this is a time of opportunity right now. Now, I like Tito's input because Tito knows a lot about both ball pythons, but I can't get your comment to show up, Tito. There it is. Other animal breeding markets and circles as well. Yeah, I think that there's an analogy to be made about pendulums as well. The macro market's one thing. How much money is actually in a market is one thing. But to be honest, how many people are just producing the thing is going to make a difference too. Regardless of any other things that we're talking about, tariffs, China, macro markets, if there's 100,000 of the thing at this point in time, and there's 10,000 of the thing at this point in time, guess what? These are going to be cheaper. These are going to be more expensive. And the pendulum's going to swing because people aren't willing to do it for this cheap, and they get out and the number goes down to here and then the price goes up. So maybe it's just one of those cycles. Maybe it's all coinciding at the same time. I'm not sure. But again, I see opportunity right now. All right. I like this comment, but I do have thoughts on this. I'm long-term bullish on the ball python market, but it will not thrive during a true recession or depression. I think conventional economics agrees with you. The the things that are extra, the things that are small luxuries go away in recessions and depressions. 100% agreed. There are people, and this actually, I'm not going to say who told me this, but it's somebody whose name you would all recognize. We were having a similar conversation not too long ago. And he says to me, you know, rich people always got money. I don't know how, I don't know where, but they always got it. You got to figure out how to sell to them. And a lot of them like ball pythons. And this is somebody who, like I say, you would know their name dating back to the very early 90s. And so there is something to that. Now, everything I said about Banana Pieds at 375, that might be right out the window in that conversation. I might not have the goods. Aaron might be doing better than I will. But I will say high luxury brands seem to weather recessions and depressions actually with very little interference. So I suppose that there's something to be said about the high end stuff that I generally don't advocate early investments in. I advocate working up to that, but that's maybe there's a case against that right there. Keeper Kane likes it that we've reached the bottom. I hope. I hope. I don't know what this year is going to bring. I don't know what the next 3, 6, 9 months is going to bring. I think it's safe to say it's going to be a weird time. We all might have different opinions of what that means, but we might all agree it's going to be a weird time. Let me see here. Yeah, that's a good point. The breeder community is more informed and strategic than ever. What I've gathered in now I could say more than 5 years that I've been at this is that prior to the 5-year sort of boom 5 years ago was that there really wasn't this idea of collaboration, open talking of ideas. And in fact, and some of this stuff gets like glorified in nostalgia, but we hear a ton of stories about undermining moves, kneecapping each other, working hard against each other. How about this example? Good friend of mine here in town. He says, Adam, we really got to just loudly push the ASF market. He goes, tell me if you think it's a bad idea. Cause we both breed and we both sell to the same market. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, we do. We need to push this and we need to make ASFs just as normal as rats or mice. So that people know what they are, because there's no way that we'll be able to satisfy the whole metro area of Minneapolis. And again, that's another idea of we don't realize how big markets are. A very small change in demand as a percentage of a greater metro market is a massive shift. And there's opportunity with that, at least here in the Minneapolis market. One of the challenges I was talking to another friend today is that ASFs aren't legal everywhere. They are legal here, totally on the up and up. I work with the DNR here to make sure that they're legal, and I'm handling the way that they're accepted and all of that. But it can't be this like nationwide sweeping thing. It can be, but it can't be on the up and up for everybody if it is. So anyway, but that's a thought to take, or as an example of people that might see each other as competitors going, well, how do we make this better for both of us, versus going, no, there's only 100 ASF buyers and I'm going to get all 100 of them and you're going to get none. What if we made 200 buyers? Be pretty good for both of us, right? I agree. I like what Beast Morse has to say. He's been at it a long time and sells some really good stuff. I'm bullish on the ball python market and the pet market in general too. This isn't going anywhere. As long as people want pets, breeders have a place. Hallelujah, my man. Okay. This is I was going to say daring. It's not that daring, actually. I like this model. It's a little bit higher risk, although I have made investments and waded in the waters of not of Bitcoin, but of Ethereum in the past. I turned my snake sales into Bitcoin. It's proven very good strategy for me. I just use the growth to fund future breeding stock. My favorite part of that is the second sentence. I'm not a massive fan of this book, but there's a book, I think we've all heard of it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a little bit of grandstanding, and it's almost like the Ric Flair of finance books, if you ask me. But there is some truth in it. And one of the things that he talks about is figuring out how much of your profits, see your investments as an army making you money. Well, you want to build that army. So sure, take a little bit for yourself, but don't ever stop investing in that army and that empire. And so I took some house money and I invested in my car wash so that I could invest in proper royals and I could triple the ASFs. So, and that ASF money, I would probably turn into more future breeding stock investments or a better film studio setup or whatever it might be. Keep investing. So I will say I'm not anti-Bitcoin, and I think it's actually the core basis of Bitcoin. Everything in this world is digital. Why wouldn't we have digital currency that is recorded forevermore to actually track and know what's going on? That's the core of Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, that mentality. I'm not trying to screw with people's heads, but a green piece of paper is harder to justify in my mind than something that has a digital tracking, unique tracking, trackability, and it fluctuates just like other markets do. So if that works for you, I love the core idea of it. I don't think that I like things on sort of the second wave. There's the early adopters. They really test things out, flesh it out, figure out what works. And some of those people get really rich and some of them get really broke. And then the second wave comes and things are a little more predictable. And that's kind of where I would prefer to be. But I like the idea. And again, I use that second sentence as my favorite right there. Oh, funny statement, or not funny, intriguing. Tito says the best dog people build a huge following. Then when they crash, switch to another breed. I do see people hop from like hognose to gecko to, colubrid to chameleon. Maybe in time I'll get good enough to be able to do that. I feel like I'm just now getting good at ball pythons though. And they still excite me. Like, I have to be excited about what I'm doing, and maybe that's a curse sometimes, but that is interesting that you said that, because I do see that. I do see it. All right, man, you guys are crushing it on the comments. I'm going to be okay. All right. Yeah. Look at this. Everybody is leaving me in the dust on their cryptocurrency knowledge. You guys are speaking a language I'm not familiar with. I guess the big concept I'm comfortable with. The smaller intricacies, I really have no idea on it. Well, guys, I think I've covered it. I like to say that the show always goes at least 60 minutes, never longer than 90 minutes. Next week, I have an intriguing guest. His name is Pedro, and he is the how do you say, like, if a person is from America, you call them American. If they're from Portugal, you call them Portuguese. But you wouldn't say would you say the Portuguese? The American? Anyway, he's in Russia. He's in Moscow. And he's a ball python breeder, collector, is in business there. Sent me a really intriguing pitch. He's been in the chats many, many times. I got Pedro, our man, our Portuguese man on the ground in Moscow, will be the guest next week on Proper Royals Live. And I want to thank everybody for some spirited conversation and debate tonight. Hope I gave you something to think about. If nothing else, I hope we gave you some entertainment. You guys are fulfilling to me, and I'm so thankful and lucky to be able to say that 5 years has passed since I stepped foot into this world, or re-stepped foot into it. I had reptiles back in college, but from this perspective and this bubble that I was down on earlier, I stepped into this bubble about 5 years ago, and I'm really thankful to be here. So cheers, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you same time, same place next week. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will go back and read the chat. If I missed you, my apologies. And of course, your comments and thoughts are always welcome. Usually keep it. We'll go calling people pedophiles. All right. See you guys soon. Cheers.